Hello again. In Writing Sentences 2 today, we are going to be covering a lot. We introduced the letter E and the sounds E and E are short and long vowel sounds. But in this lesson, we introduced two different ways of spelling the sound E. So we are going to be covering a lot by looking at the gang's best moments. A group of friends who go to the same club and like to meet up and have a chat about the best moments that they've shared since they last saw their friends. And here's our gang of friends. So we're going to have our title first of all, The Gang's Best Moments. We'll start by writing the gang's best. Because it's a title, we will give each of the words a capital letter and have an extra think when you get to the word gangs, because we're talking about something that belongs to them. The gang's best. The elephant was our strategy. Gangs and then an apostrophe S. Best. And in moments, we have two syllables, and you might like to think of it as moments. Think about how you write mo when you hear O at the end of that first syllable. Mo. O is just O when it's at the end of a syllable, and then ments. Moments. How did you get on? This time we're going to practice writing their names. First, we have Beth. B is B and a capital because it's her name. E is E and then F. And it's followed by a comma because we have a list. Next we have Ethan. And again, we can hear E in that first syllable, and it's all on its own in that first syllable. So how are you going to write it? E-than might be your spelling language. E is just E when it's all on its own in a syllable, and then than. Another comma. Ted. T is capital T and then ed. And this time we are going to write Ness's name. But this one won't need a comma after it, because after her name we're almost at the end of the list. And we will be adding and. Ness. Think about S. Yup. Ness is a one syllable or a one tap word, and it had a short vowel sound E. So we needed double S. And then last person. And Kath. And cath. Capital C, and it ends with TH for th. So, we've practiced the names and we've practiced writing best moments. So when we go to write just a little bit about the chatter that they had, you will be ready for those words. And here we have Ted. So we're going to give it the title that Ted's best moment needs. Ted's best moment. And have a think. Will you need an apostrophe? Ted's, capital T again for his name. And yes, we will need an apostrophe because it's his best moment. Best. A capital B because it's a title, and moment, a capital M for the title. And we are also going to underline it. Get your ruler ready. Ted's best moment. So, here's a little snatch of what he said. I did the best at dominoes. Let's start with I did. I, a capital I, did the best at. The best. It's a little b this time, at. And then we have the word dominoes. We can hear dom, in, o, and then which suffix will it be? Have a think. Domino ends in an o. So which suffix do we add when we're talking about more than one? Dom, in, o, and well done. If you remembered that when a word ends in an O, we add ES. Some words we don't, which makes it a tricky rule, but for the words we've included in our sentences, we do. Now, do you think it was the dominoes game? The picture tells us it was lining them up so that when you tapped the first one, they would knock each other over in turn. Looks like a lot of fun. Ted had something else he was pleased about. Then I had mangoes. I don't think he'd had them before, but they were obviously a treat. So let's write then I had first. Then, TH, we need a capital. I had. Man is the first syllable. Man goes. And this is what they look like. If you've cut it open, removed the stone and cut the flesh into squares to eat. Man, go, and again we add suffix es. And there's an exclamation mark because it was a lovely surprise. We have 4 more best moments to come. So you might like to split up the work you're doing and do one person at a time. we have Ness's best moment. I think Ness is short for Vanessa. Ness's best moment. So let's write that. Capital N for her name, Ness ending in a double S, and we can add apostrophe S. Once upon a time you would just add an apostrophe, but it's now okay to put an apostrophe S because that's what it sounds like when we say Ness's. So let's add best moment. And it's a wee title again, so a capital B and a capital M. Ness's best moment. And we are going to underline it again. So let's find out what her moment was. I added seed, need and speed to the primary 3 song. Then I sang it to them. Do you think it was the rhyming song? So let's write the first little bit. I added. And we're using suffix ed. Added. I, capital letter, added. So add does have a short vowel sound. It is 1 syllable, but it already has 2 letters after the vowel. So we just added suffix ed. I added seed, need, and because we take a breath in between those 2, we'll put a comma. Seed. Now this time we are hearing E in the middle of a word, so it's got a different spelling. Seed. Yep, double E. There's our comma. Need. And speed. And again, because we're writing the word and, we don't need to put another comma. And speed. And we're going to be writing to the P3. So make that letter P a capital. To the P3 song. That you have your tongue at the top of your mouth, and it lets you know to write N and G. But she hadn't finished. Then I sang. That's the first bit of what she says next. Then. Oh, we have a picture. Then I sang it to them. It to them. And there we have it. You see if you can think of other words that rhyme with "ed." Let's find out about somebody else's best moment. And here we have Kath. So let's have our title again. Kath's best moment. Capital C, Kath, and an apostrophe S, because the best moment is hers. Best moment. And we will underline it, just like we have for the others. Kath's best moment. Dad spotted me. That's our first sentence. Dad spotted me. We'll find out in a minute where he spotted her. Dad, capital D, and then spot. And we've added suffix ed again, so have a think when you write it. Spot. And yes, we did need to double that T because there was only one consonant after that short vowel sound O in the word spot, so we doubled it. Then anybody reading knows to say O. So Dad spotted me. That's the end of our first sentence. He beeped. That's how he let her know he was there. He beeped. Now, in beeped, the ed suffix sounds like t. We still write ed. Have a think about the vowel sound. Will we need to double? He, capital H. This is another one of our strategy word. He exercises. And then beeped. And E in the middle of the word is written with a double E because it's in the middle. And it's a long vowel sound, so we don't need to double the P. He beeped as I began to pant. As I began. B, we can hear E at the end of that first syllable, so we just write it with an E. To pant. To pant. I think she must have been in a rush, and perhaps she was going uphill as well. So Dad drove round to help her out. I got to this spot at speed. Let's just write I got to. I got to this spot. This spot at speed. At speed. And that's Kath's best moment. It definitely is quicker if you get a lift to meet up with your pals. Let's see who's next. And remember, take a break if you would like to. Ethan. Ethan's best moment. E, all on its own in a syllable, so we write the letter E. Fan. Ethan's, and again apostrophe S. Ethan's best. Capital B again. And moment. Moment might be your spelling language. We underline there. I wonder what his will be. The piping stopped and I began to sing the anthem. Oh, I wonder where he was. Let's write our sentence first. We'll start with the piping. The capital T, and then pie was our first syllable, and we could hear I at the end of the syllable, so we write the letter I. Then ping. The piping stopped. And again, we're adding suffix ed, so have a think. Our starter word is stop. Stopped. And yes, we needed a double P because we had O, a short vowel sound before it. Stop. So, the piping stopped and I began to sing the anthem. Let's write and I first of all, because I think that will fit in that space. And I began to be, E at the end of that syllable, to sing the, and actually we write it as the anthem might be a spelling language. Anthem, but we would say anthem. Have you worked out where he might be? Perhaps this picture will help. It's a little bit out of focus, but it's somebody standing on the roof at Murrayfield Rugby Stadium playing the opening part of Flower of Scotland before everybody joins in. And Ethan joined in too. We have one person left. Here we have Beth. Beth's best moment. Beth. And again an apostrophe S. Best moment. Moment. And we will underline hers as well. And this time we are going to write speech marks. There's been an awful lot of other things to think about, so I've left the speech marks till we get to the last person speaking. This meeting is the best, said Beth. That's our first sentence. So we'll start with speech marks and this meeting. Look a little bit like 66. This meeting. There. And we didn't need to double the T because we had a long vowel sound in this word, in our starter word. This meeting is the best. Is the best. And then we're going to put a comma before we add the speech marks at the end of what she said, because we're going to write said Beth. Said an imaginary dog was our first sound strategy. Said Beth. And that will have a full stop after it. But then she has another sentence, which we will put in another set of speech marks. I get to see the gang. Let's start with speech marks. I get to see. See, we can hear E at the end of a word. And the spelling choice is double E. I get to see the and then gang. Full stop, but no speech marks yet because she says something else. It does me good. It, capital I, for the beginning of that sentence, does. Does. Does on every scooter could be your first sound spelling. Me good. Me good. Full stop, and we close the speech marks because she's finished speaking about her best moment. And we have the word me. It also has the sound E at the end of a word, but this was a strategy word, so we just write it with one letter E. Me exercising could be our first sound spelling. Well, that was a lot of hard work. You might like to make a booklet to read to somebody. You might like to type it up like a wee story about this gang's best moments. And here we've got one typed up here. The gang's best moments. Beth, Ethan, Ted, Ness and Kath. Ted's best moment. And I'm going to put my marker after the full stop. I did the best at dominoes. Then I had mangoes. We can see from the emoji how much he liked those mangoes. Ness's best moment. I added seed, need and speed to the P3 song. Then I sang it to them. Kath's best moment. Dad spotted me. He beeped as I began to pant. I got to this spot at speed. Ethan's best moment. The piping stopped and I began to sing the anthem. Beth's best moment. This meeting is the best, said Beth. I get to see the gang. It does me good. Now, you might like to read this to yourself or to somebody else. And if you read it to somebody else, try covering up the writing. See if they can remember whose best moment the picture is illustrating. Who was it that liked the mangoes? Who was it that sang a song? Thank you for joining me and for working so hard.